And welcome to this episode of
A Lost Cause. I'm Shawna.
And I'm Annie.
And as you can see, we are once again on location. Annie's parents are away today, and so I'm over at their place. We've been having a really fun weekend.
And we forgot, it was a rushed countdown, so we haven't applied the perfume yet. And here's Daniel. Don't worry, he's here.
But now that we are ready to go, let's talk about Horace Goodspeed.
Yeah. So something that you should know is, before Donna ever watched the show, we actually, I was watching He's Are You in the living room one day, and Donna was at home, and I was really lonely, so I wanted him to come into the living room. And he actually watched He's Are You way before he should have, and he said something so mean. So mean. He said that I look like Horace.
Well, boy.
I don't know.
Wow.
I know.
But, as we'll talk about soon, you love Horace.
I love Horace, but, that's not a compliment.
You don't aspire to look like him.
No.
So, Horace Goodspeed, let's talk about the first time we see him.
Well, it's only the best episode ever. In The Man Behind the Curtain, we see him because Ben is born, Emily, his mom, is dying, so Roger brings her out into this highway and is pretty much just hitchhiking so that he could get Emily to the hospital. And Horace actually pulls up with his wife, Olivia.
So we think.
That's what the script says.
Oh, right.
And Horace tries to
help.
And it's not going good for Emily because she actually dies.
Yeah.
Right there.
And this is pre-hippie days because Horace has kind of shorter hair.
He has short hair, normal clothes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So obviously there was some kind of connection as a result. They kept in touch because Horace then is responsible for bringing Roger and Ben to the island.
Mm-hmm. In 12 years.
Yeah.
And during those 12 years, Horace got a perm.
Maybe his hair just gets curly.
Got glasses.
Yeah. Do you think maybe his hair just gets curly when it grows out, though?
No, because not in season 5.
Yeah, sometimes it's really curly. And
in The Man Behind the Curtain and Cabin Fever, he has a perm. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
when we first see Horace and Olivia, they are 32 miles out of Portland.
Yes, and...
but we don't really know what happens in those intervening years, how Horace and Olivia end up on the island, whether they had already been to the island when they tried to rescue Emily.
I'd also like to mention this theory that I read about, that Horace and Olivia are Annie's parents. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this a lot, just personally, but some evidence that, because they're married, obviously, and Annie's the same age as Ben, but when when Emily dies, they give each other a look, a concerned look, but so people think that might be because she's pregnant.
Oh, because that was
worried about it.
One of my questions about this theory is how come she's not pregnant when they pulled the car over, but maybe she is. Yeah.
So I do like that theory, but no one really knows.
We're just always trying to figure out what happened to Annie.
Well, yeah, I have attachment issues with characters and yeah.
Well, and we don't want there to be any gaps. And it's definitely a gap that we don't find out what happened to Annie.
And also, the volcano.
Well, also Olivia.
That little Secrets of the Dharma Initiative thing pretty much says that Olivia got off of the island and was, I don't know, like living under a different name or something. So,
But that was just sort of a special feature on one of the DVDs. It wasn't actually in the show. But that little sort of special feature tells us that she did get off the island. We think maybe she left with Annie.
yeah. Because that would make sense in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, 77. Because Annie is not, well, there's no evidence that she's there.
No. And I think if she was there, like, we would see her.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the time Ben and Roger arrive on the island, like, Horace is kind of a
Just
big,
like,
important man,
just
like on the island.
hippieing it up, you know?
Yeah, but he seems to be kind of in charge of everything. He's assigning, like, the jobs. Everybody reports to him. So somehow he's kind of taken this leadership role in Dharmaville.
Like, who knows? Maybe he's just, like, super rich or, like, really smart and we don't know about it.
Mm-hmm. So The Man Behind the Curtain takes place in what year?
So, 73?
Around there.
73, I think it is.
But then Lafleur takes place
in 1974.
Yeah. So obviously something happens with Horace and Olivia in between that 1 year or a couple years, because when we see Horace again in Lafleur, he's not with Olivia anymore. There's no mention of Olivia.
1973.
Okay. So probably, I mean, I think that sort of supports the theory that, you know, sometime in 1973, things break down between Horace and Olivia, and maybe Olivia takes Annie with her, which is kind of sad that if, like, Ben and Annie only had such a short time together, right? Before she's gone.
Yeah. That is sad, actually.
Do you think maybe Annie knew that she was leaving, and that's why she said, now we never have to be away from each other?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, and then also they'd be friends because their parents both have issues.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
But that's just another theory, and we have a really good one coming up.
Well, but actually, in between The Man Behind the Curtain and Lafleur, we see Horace again in a very confusing way. So.
Yes, in Cabin Fever, actually.
Which you consider to be sort of like a...
It's totally a rip-off. Yeah. The Man Behind the Curtain. We see, like, young John Locke being born premature. We see a young John Locke encountering Richard Albert. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. And the, like, cabin is revisited. Mm-hmm. And the ditch with all those dead bodies, which, I was just about to say, like, we already know that Horace is dead. And, because we see him in The Purge and The Man Behind the Curtain. So when John Locke is trying to find this cabin, he has this weird, like, spiritual dream really close to the one that he had about Boone, all the way back in season 1. And the Horace is there. He's chopping trees for a cabin for him and his wife. And he says something, I don't remember, you need to find me, something like that. And it's like, it's pretty creepy because it's like one of those, you know.
Well, it's kind of on a loop, right?
It's
like
on a loop,
keeps repeating
which
the same
is, you know, it's disturbing for some people. But, yeah, and he still has the perm, I'd just like to mention, And
at that stage, like, we're not that invested in Horace because we've only seen him in one other episode. But what do you think it means? Like, who is that? Is that the Man in Black? Is that Ghost Horace? Like, what is going on?
Well, I think maybe John Locke's dreams are different because remember the Boone one and the Ana Lucia one with was it him or was it Echo? I think that the dreams are different.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, John Locke has never seen Horace before, right? So it's not like he's just having a dream about someone he knows.
Yeah, but
so he really does sort of appear in this dream.
Sorry, I think I have, like, a little bit of tomato stuck in my throat.
Oh, no. Thanks for sharing that.
Like Denethor style.
We just came from lunch, so.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in the LaFleur episode, I think really this is my favorite Horace.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this a good time to...
Well, maybe we'll just give a little bit of background.
All right, yeah.
I mean, and we don't want to always be repeating ourselves, but as we've talked about before, LaFleur kind of flashes back and forth between two time periods. So 1974, when Sawyer and Juliet and everybody first arrive in Dharmaville.
And 77.
And then 77. So yeah, what happens during those 3 years for Horace?
For Horace, well, so first, we meet a new Dharma woman who, which is kind of rare, I think. There's not many female characters in Lost.
Mm-hmm. But at least it meets that Bechdel test or whatever it's called. Like two women having a conversation, not about a guy.
But when did that ever happen?
Oh, lots of times. Like Kate and Juliet, or lots of times. Claire and Kate.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, she's on this date with Paul.
Sorry. They're not just dating, though.
But they're on a date.
Yes,
though,
yes.
With her husband, Paul. And our friends, our losties, kind of jump through time, and then they hear this woman, Amy, screaming. And they look over these bushes, and she's got a bag over her head, and there's two men with guns up to her.
Yeah,
and
something bad is going on.
So Sawyer and Juliet jump right into action because, they're not letting this happen. They shoot the two guys who had guns against her, and it turns out her husband Paul's dead. But then she tells them to obey the truce. Amy and Paul were in hostile territory, which is...
don't do that, you guys. Don't do that. Stop going into hostile territory. It's not that hard.
It's really not, but they do anyways. And so now they have to bury these two men and then take Paul back with them to the Dharma Initiative. So Sawyer and Juliet do it, and Amy kind of helps them out, except she kind of tricks them into, because the supersonic fence or whatever, she doesn't turn it off, she just turns it
But she said she did.
Yeah. What a liar, huh?
Well, yeah, I don't really know, about Amy in that scene, because these people, just saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it just goes to show the level of paranoia on the island at that time, and how tense things were, between the hostiles and the Dharma Initiative. Mm-hmm. But they do eventually get there.
Yeah, they do. And then, I think something happens where they have to bring Paul back to the hostiles.
Yeah.
We see Horace, and Horace is actually helping Sawyer, get a job or something. Or he says he's gonna let them stay for 2 weeks or...
I think, just a week. Because originally they didn't want them there, but then Sawyer ends up kind of, sort of engaging in some dispute resolution with Richard, because that's they broke the truce, right? Richard comes over, is like, what are we going to do about this? You killed two of my guys, we killed one of yours. So Sawyer negotiates this deal where the hostiles take Paul's body back, and then the truce will be restored. Mm-hmm. And so Horace, I think, is pretty impressed, by Sawyer.
And eventually Sawyer kind of weasels his way into getting a great job. And Horace really trusts him. But in that episode, it kind of seems like Horace might have a thing for Amy. Maybe. Because he is we've been friends for a long time, right, Amy? And mm-hmm. Amy's just in, complete shock.
Yes.
Because her husband just died. Yeah. So then we go to 77, and Horace is found blowing up trees, drunk. I think the island has, something to do with alcohol or something. The Dharma Initiative. Because...
maybe that beer is really strong.
Maybe. Yeah, and so then, Sawyer gets involved because their leader is blowing up trees, and Sawyer has to go tell Amy. It's we're now informed that they're actually married.
Yeah.
And Amy is actually pregnant.
So fast forward 3 years, and Horace has gone from comforting widow Amy to being her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how about that?
Good job, Horace.
Good job, Horace.
But why is Horace blowing up trees and so upset?
Because they got in a fight over Paul. Him and Amy got into a fight over Paul, and he's like, is 3 years really enough to get over somebody? And Sawyer has this really nice little conversation with him about that. He doesn't even remember what Kate looks like because of how much he loves Juliet, and it's really sweet.
Because Horace found his cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul's
cross.
necklace. Yeah.
Anyways, then Amy unexpectedly goes into labor just like she would in any other show. And Juliet has to deliver this baby, and Horace misses it. But yeah, they have this kid now. And everything is going to be like just so peachy and sunny and great until everybody shows up.
Yes. And who is that baby?
The baby is our friend Ethan. But we were talking about couch Horace because Horace was laying on the couch after being drunk and blah blah blah, and we think it looks like the Midnight's photo shoot from Taylor Swift, like the couch.
It's so funny because it could totally be like a photo shoot for the album Midnights, except it's like Horace in his Dharma jumpsuit.
Oh, I don't have couch Horace. This is not right. Here, I'll add one.
But the thing is, like, a lot happens in those 3 years, because not only does Horace get together with Amy, but then we also get the wonderful revelation that Sawyer and Juliet are together as well. So just like peace and love in Dharmaville.
All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Perm Horace goes to number 1. Couch Horace. Ponytail Horace.
Yeah, he rocks the ponytail quite often.
Nighttime Fire Horace.
Like with the bus? Or yeah,
With
okay.
the van. Phone Horace.
Which one's that?
Like when he's calling someone.
Okay.
Dead Horace.
Oh.
Cabin Fever Horace. Midnight's Horace, I guess.
Well, that is Couch Horace, yeah.
Alcoholic Horace.
Yeah, there you go. So the many faces and moods of Horace Goodspeed. So we actually have come up with a pretty red-hot theory, I guess.
So we came up with this right before we were discussing our last podcast.
Yeah,
with
we were
Donna.
having our Richard
and
Alpert
I just
pre-show meeting.
I was zoned out, and I was like, because I got a theory about Horace.
And
so
normally this would be like the hot take, but it's going to take so long to talk about that we
can't be a hot
move it
take.
up into the show.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Horace is secretly working for the others. Hear me out. Hear me out. Why did Horace build Jacob's cabin? Because he had those blueprints in his pocket for Jacob's cabin. And no one else in the Dharma Initiative knew about that cabin.
Right. And it's sort of like affiliated with the others.
And it seems like maybe only Ben knew about it. And that would mean that the others would know about it.
Because it's in hostile territory.
It's in hostile territory. And, yeah, so I don't know. And then another theory I got was in the incident when they're trying to get back up to, like, the Swan Station because they're underground and the pool got the whole, like, bomb thing.
Yes.
They have tunnels into someone's house. They break in, get up, and it's Horace's house. Now, why is Horace's house, like, right beside the tunnels? Why is it connected to it?
Yeah, exactly. So
we also know that Ben moves into Horace's house after Horace dies.
Right.
And that also has the tunnels to the smoke monster, all that stuff.
So, like, you're telling me that, like, Horace never used those tunnels?
Yeah.
And it all sort of fits together because what if, like, Horace, seems to be recruiting people to the island, Ben and Roger, but like what if he's working for the hostels, recruiting people to the island? And, we talked about in the Ethan episode, like, oh, how could Ethan, like, how did Ben manage to recruit Ethan to the others?
Well,
and
what if it wasn't Ben who recruited him?
Yeah, right?
What if it was?
And we were like, oh, how could he
Horace?
go against his own parents? But what if it was Horace that recruited him?
And what if Olivia found out
Yeah.
and was like, nope.
And that's
No
why
way.
Olivia takes off with Annie.
Another thing is the whole God loves you as he loves Jacob thing in the hypnosis video that they used on the hostiles, but why would they know about Jacob?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they had someone to know about Jacob. Another thing is Horace also was just willing to kill Saeed and seemed very concerned about Saeed and went straight to Oldham, right?
Yeah.
Because he would know if he's a real hostile or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And also, if you kind of think of it through that lens, like what if Horace was already in love with Amy and then bumps Paul off so that Amy's free to marry? Like maybe, he tipped off the hostels that they were going to be in their territory on this date, and then that was the arrangement.
Also,
right?
why are they using that grid, 223, I think it is, for where the Swan Station is, if it's hostile territory?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the hostels would know about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so maybe Horace getting drunk, it isn't just that he's kind of jealous of Paul or insecure about Paul. Maybe he actually sees the cross, realizes oh, she still kind of loves him, and I was responsible for his death. So pretty good theory, though. I think it there's no direct evidence of it, but it certainly does fit, and it would answer a lot of questions, particularly about Ethan.
You're welcome.
So yeah, pretty great. But that being said, let's talk about Horace's kind of role in what I call the Saeed crisis.
Yeah. So I can take this over.
Sure.
Don't worry. Yeah. So Saeed just shows up. Radzinski really takes it into his own hands. He is certain that this guy's gotta go. He's seen
Right
the
from the
model.
start,
He's it's not looking good for Saeed. And Horace is kind of, well, I think we see some scenes with Horace and Radzinski coming into the cell with him, and Radzinski is just so ask him about the model, and you can see Horace is getting very irritated and wants Radzinski to let him do it because he's the leader. Why shouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why in the world Saeed would be intimidated by Horace.
Mm-hmm.
Saeed has been in the army, and Horace is warning him that he's going to have to take it to the next level if he doesn't cooperate.
And also you can sort of see that Horace is wearing a tie-dyed shirt underneath his Dharma. It does not inspire fear.
No. And yeah, Horace is just he's so special to me. He's just he's so, and I don't, because then when young Ben is lying to Phil that Horace told him to bring the sandwiches,
Mm-hmm.
Phil's oh, well, must be true. So I don't know. Horace doesn't seem if that's convincing that Horace would want this kid to bring him the sandwiches.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great leader.
Kind of makes you see how they were toppled by the hostels in the purge.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, what else about Horace?
Well, and then of course there's the famous living room meeting.
Right. The whole think about the children thing.
Yes.
That's so ironic. But yeah, Radzinski is just no, we gotta kill this guy. We gotta kill him. And Horace is no, we need more time. And then Amy actually chimes in and she's like, no, like, we have a baby. We have to kill this guy. Like, she says we have to think about all the children here, which is really ironic because it's Ben who frees him and later joins the hostiles along with Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
So
another child,
just
her
like
own child.
So much irony there.
Yes. But yeah, they have this vote.
And Horace is just like so stupid there because he's like acting all conflicted and it's like, oh, we're gonna have to do a vote. And then when Sawyer's like, no, we're not killing him, like, that's crazy. He's like, I'd really like to say it's unanimous. Okay, then say it. So stupid.
Well, so Sawyer ends up, like, voting in favor of killing Saeed, but he, of course, has other plans. And this is another little thing of mine, because, like, we sort of see all the people in the room.
No, here we go.
And then, like, there's Rosinski. But then
and he's just, like, man-spreading on the couch next to these, like, really pretty girls.
Yeah, there's this really pretty girl, and she's wearing just a great Dharma, like, dress. Like, you know, kind of the teacher, like, Olivia outfit. And I'm just very curious. And she's got, like, beautiful 70s blonde, sort of feathered hair. And I just want to know, like, what's her story? Like, who is this woman? Why is she sitting next to Rosinski? And she's a little bloodthirsty, too, because I believe she also... It is a unanimous vote.
I like the guy next to Rosinski when he's like, all right, everybody in favor, put your hand up. And he's like, look out for him next time you watch it. Get this guy his Emmy already.
Well, and this woman, this mystery woman, doesn't have any lines, but I just think that'd be a good role to kind of just be sitting there on the couch next to Rosinski.
I was watching the Man Behind the Curtain behind the scenes, like with all the little kids in the classroom, and I looked at the comments and someone was like, the kid crossing their arms, that's me. And that would be so cool to, like, be one of those kids in that class.
It's like being one of the baby Aarons.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. And then, like, just a disaster because all of a sudden, there's a bus on fire and, you know, the hostile is out of his cage and, Horace is freaking out and he's, like, all defensive and he's like, they had help, Jack, that's what happened. And he's like, well, who are you to Jack? Because I guess he's really upset. He loved that van. He did not want that van to be set on fire.
Well, it's not just about the van. Like, he is losing control here, you know? They make a decision to kill Saeed. Someone breaks Saeed out. Someone had the janitor's keys in the...
But then it just gets so much worse because there's actually a kid that got shot. Actually, he doesn't care about that.
No, he's more just kind of wants to know who is... this also feeds into our theory. He wants to know who was working with Saeed because, like, he doesn't... Maybe he's worried he's going to get exposed. You know what I mean? Anyway.
I think, yeah. And then, you know, he's rocking the ponytail and he's like, let's check out this cage.
It almost seems like when Horace is trying to be, like, authoritarian and, like, I mean business, he's got the ponytail. Like,
yeah. And
that's, like, sort of business.
And they have the keys and I, like, gasped the first time I saw it because, you know, my love for young Ben is eternal. But the janitor's keys are the same, like, mold as our keys because we got them special like that because it matches the window on our door, on our front door. But it's the same, same keys. You're going to have to put up a photo, but...
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, another reason why I love the janitors. And then I think that he might be suspicious of Jack.
Well, they are suspicious of Jack and Kate because they're newcomers.
Right.
They were like late additions to the manifest list or the sub list. Kate is like asking too many questions about Ben. She's kind of getting too involved. So, yeah, and it's really too bad that then the suspicion falls on Sawyer and Juliet because, you know, they had really made their way into the circle of trust.
They were really trying to save everything from falling apart,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
So again, we've said it once, we'll say it again, like, it's all Saeed's fault.
It's all Saeed's fault.
I mean, you can blame to a
yeah.
certain extent, you know, Jack and Kate for, like, coming back and messing things up, but really, it is Saeed. Although, I guess it's not Saeed's fault that he got separated from them when the plane crashed, right? If they'd all been together in a group, maybe, you know, it wouldn't have happened. But, like, Saeed is captured separately. And that's really Rosinski's fault, because Jin finds Saeed, and it's all like, oh, but then Rosinski's there, so then Jin has to pretend like, oh, it's a potential hostile.
Right. And what else does Horace do in those days? What does he do in the incident? Nothing much, huh?
Well, again, he's not really
in it.
being very decisive, but it ends up being Dr. Marvin Candle or Pierre Chang, really.
My friend.
Yeah, her personal friend.
I met him once.
Who decides to follow the advice of Daniel Faraday and evacuate the island. I mean, and we've sort of been, you know, throwing a bit of shade on Horace's leadership abilities, yet he does appear to remain in leadership for all the time, you know, from the late 70s up to the Purge, when...
But do you think that's true, though?
Well, we don't really know otherwise.
Yeah.
We don't really see much of Dharmaville on the day of the Purge. Like, we just sort of see Ben and Roger packing up the Dharma van and doing their deliveries. Yeah, but it's a sad end for Horace.
Mm-hmm.
And even sadder that's kind of our last glimpse of Horace, because he doesn't appear in the Sideways either. So no Sideways
Because
Horace.
he's probably underwater.
But let's talk about, like, why do we love Horace?
We love Horace because he's sometimes just ridiculous. Like, when he's trying to be all devious and he's like, welcome to the circle of trust. When he wants to get, like, this body bag to Rudzinski or whatever. And we love how he's, you know, I think he's very emotionally vulnerable, in my opinion. That's my headcanon. Because he's just like, I don't know, I just always think about that voting scene, because he's just like...
He just kind of can't handle it, and obviously there's a lack of confidence and decisiveness there. But there is a certain vulnerability to Horace. Maybe it's just seeing him, you know, sprawled out on that couch, like, almost passed out. But, yeah, it's hard not to like Horace on some level. And really good for Horace for, like... I mean, it doesn't turn out to be a very good first few years for Ben on the island, but, I mean, eventually I think Ben would be very glad that he was brought to the island, right?
Yes, but I don't know. I don't know, because, like, I don't think Horace was that great to Ben.
Well...
But obviously Ben felt otherwise because he closed his eyes when he died.
So there was some respect shown to Horace.
For one reason or another, but I think Horace should have stepped in for sure. It's his responsibility that Roger was brought to the island. And it's not like Ben was hiding that he was being abused.
It was pretty clear, yeah.
So,
also, like, Horace is there when Roger is having a screaming freak out about, you know, the Rudzinski kid and whatnot.
And the money he wants, I'm gonna need another...
$3,000.
30 grand.
Oh,
right.
30 grand, yeah.
And, yeah, and then he says, don't tell me you don't have it. So, I mean, a Horace is, like, secretly a baller.
He must be. And he's driving a really nice car when we see him outside of Portland. We've talked about how, like, they have accessed so much stuff.
That's still one of my things, because why, like, where are they getting this stuff?
Because even if you think about The Man in Charge, which we just watched, they're like, we sort of see everything in the warehouse that gets sent. And there's no furniture or
they get,
personal items.
Custom glasses for, like, so many characters. Even Sawyer got his nice new Dharma glasses. And then in the cabin, if that is Horace's cabin, there's a glass eye.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think you just buy those at the superstore.
But if Horace is working with the Hostels, probably he's working directly with Richard Alpert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe he knows all about it. Like maybe he knows that they've got their eye on Ben. They want Ben to be patient. Like, but then how does Richard?
And that could explain why he comes to Locke in a dream.
But how does Richard, so the night that Amy's husband gets killed and then Richard comes to talk and he's sitting on that bench with Sawyer, like how does he get past the fence?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's not really clear. He's just there all of a sudden.
I think that happens a lot with Richard. He just kind of appears.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, we know that he's doesn't age, but does he have some sort of invulnerability to stuff like that? Like, can he be injured? Can he be killed?
Maybe something like Mikhail.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be studied. Real. That needs to be studied. Because there's no reason why that should have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So many times.
Well, I think it's time for our shout out.
Which is... What's our shout out?
Perm Horace.
Right, Perm Horace. Perm Horace is our shout out because, yeah, he's just like rocking the perm and all of the Man Behind the Curtain, all of Cabin Fever, but pretty much as soon as the late 70s hit, it's just gone. It's just like wavy hair, and I think that's kind of why.
But really, if you imagine the perm hair on a woman, like everyone would be telling her, "Wow, you have beautiful hair." So that is our shout out. And now we're going to segue just right into what's up with that.
It's like, what's up with that?
So our segment this week focuses again on Horace.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
Horace.
Right. You do it.
Horace seems to have a way with the ladies. Both Olivia and Amy are very attractive, intelligent.
Amy was on Person of Interest.
And 24. And I mean, Olivia is played by Samantha Mathis, who's on like Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. So I think we could all agree that both of these women are out of Horace's league. I mean, just objectively speaking. And yet Horace seems to have a lot of success. So
well, I think it might have to do with the money.
Money and power.
Money, some power.
Some power, yes.
We're not sure.
So this is a sort of, mashup of kind of the shout out and what's up with that. Because in a way, like, what is up with that? But in another way, like, shout out to Horace for...
Good job, Horace.
For having a way with the ladies.
So weird.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So initially we had aimed for the podcast to be about 42 minutes long in honor of the last number of the numbers. We've been going well over that for the past several weeks. So today we're really going to try to tighten things up, get it in under the 42-minute mark. So we are going to move straight into our hot take.
Right.
And so Annie, what is your hot take?
My hot take is that Horace is not a good leader for the Dharma Initiative. Can you think about how much smoother everything in those 5 episodes would have gone if Sawyer was the leader?
Yeah.
Or really anyone else was the leader?
Well, not anyone else though, because I mean, Phil or Rosinski, that's just a reign of terror. Let's be honest, right?
Sure. Yeah. But come on. Yeah, Horace has to get it together.
But don't you think that, if everything hadn't gotten wrecked for Sawyer and Juliet, one day Sawyer would have been in charge?
Definitely.
Because, I mean, everybody respected him, everybody listened to him. People would report stuff to Sawyer rather than Horace.
Right, even young Ben was scared of him.
Yeah. So it's
just
again...
I think Sawyer would be just such a good leader.
So it's, again, just a shame that things had to get wrecked for them because, Sawyer was just assuming more and more responsibility. And Sawyer knew that the purge was coming at some point.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So maybe,
how are they going to survive that?
Well, I mean, in the 70s, he was sort of like, Daniel Faraday says whatever happens, happens. There's not much we can do to change anything. But probably as the time got closer, like, hopefully Sawyer would have had some kind of plan. But yeah, I would agree. Horace was not a very good leader. And just, there's kind of no one in charge of everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got sort of the science component, and that's like Brzezinski and Pierre Chang trying to sort it out. But then as far as the kind of like day-to-day activities of Dharmaville.
And probably the food.
Yeah, like Horace, I don't know, he's just sort of there.
Yeah, like my theory is that he must be in charge of the food, probably the music. Maybe he, like, orders stuff from the mainland and brings it there, like the clothes and stuff. It's the posters in the lunchroom. Like, there's this really nice one of Geronimo Jackson and, like, a real, kind of like the shirt that I'm going to show off.
It's more of an administrative role.
Something like that.
To have, as opposed to sort of an executive.
But
like,
his logo says mathematician.
Right. That is interesting because we at no time see Horace doing any kind of math.
Nope.
Or like even having discussions about math or science or engineering. We don't see him involved in the plans for the Swan. Mm-hmm. No one's consulting him. Daniel Faraday doesn't ask to talk to him about like trying to evacuate or,
That's true.
The incident. Like, it's sort of like no one cares about Horace, like what he has to say or,
Sorry, Horace.
About making major decisions.
And yes, we can't forget the art because we're kind of running out of time.
Yes.
So this week's art is amazing. So it's this is from The Man Behind the Curtain. This one is cabin fever because he's got the like axe going on here. I put a little peace sign because he's all about peace, or so he says. Here's the welcome to the circle of trust one. His little ponytail. This is just like another one, and this is the think about the children.
Yeah, so your art is kind of making me think that Horace is sort of like all talk, but not very much like substance or action. He's good with kind of coming up with these sayings, but circle of trust, all that. But really, like in fairness to Horace, there's a lot to keep track of on that island, and it would be very difficult, like when you've got Phil and like Brzezinski. I mean, they're not good at taking orders. Like, so Horace, probably his life just vastly improved when Sawyer and Miles
true.
Came to kind of lend a hand.
And yeah, so I think that's where we should end it at, because look at the time.
Yes, so thank you for joining us. It might be a surprise that we spend an entire episode on Horace, because he doesn't seem to be that big of a character, but obviously he made quite an impression on us. So justice for Horace and getting his own episode.
See you in another life.
And namaste.
Goodbye.